This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Drunk driving, dangerous and often deadly action, moving rampant still through Montana.
Alcohol, a suspected factor in a crash that injured a Billings student after a man ran his pickup into the back of a school bus yesterday. And a woman in Bozeman arrested for her 6th DUI just last night.
Well, the state of Montana remains near the top of the list when it comes to deaths caused by drunk driving.
In fact, the section of I-90 that runs across Montana ranks as the most dangerous stretch of highway in the nation for DUI fatalities.
MTN's Cody Boyer is in Bozeman with more on these startling statistics.
Montana is actually tied for first place in the entire nation for DUI fatalities.
To Task Force Coordinator Kelly Parker-Watney, that's a stat that is both disturbing and hard to ignore.
The alarm bells that go off, it's just a sad statistic. We have 313 alcohol licenses in Gallatin County alone. There are, I think, 15 breweries now in Gallatin County, and that's a lot.
She says Montana also is the rated lowest for DUI legislation, and to the task force, each associated number shows something else to be scared of.
Numbers and statistics show that most people have driven at least 80 times before they're arrested for a single DUI. It's terrifying.
The Montana Highway Patrol obviously cover a lot of area, not just Gallatin County alone, which is already large. So they say one of their primary tools that could help them cover more area starts with you.
DUI is a significant problem in Montana. It always has been.
Sergeant Daniel Amundsen says communication from the public goes a long way, making phone calls a powerful tool to rely on.
Fortunately, we have a lot of help from the public, especially with cell phones. People call in reports of drunk drivers. We refer to that as a RAD report, and the public helps us a lot by looking out for erratic driving, dangerous driving.
Both the Highway Patrol and Gallatin County DUI Task Force say a plan could make a difference, and knowing what can happen if you get behind the wheel when you shouldn't.
It's really as simple as making a plan ahead of time.
Reach out, call a friend, have somebody you can call if you find yourself in a impaired driving situation, that you can find an alternate ride home.
Well, there are 36 approved county-level DUI task forces across Montana serving 40 counties.
Switching gears to the weather scene, Bob McGuire, our Mayflowers might actually survive these cold April showers.
We really caught a break because the day before we had just a light dusting. Today the storm came real close to us, but then it just started dropping to the south and we had another light dusting. Here's what they had though at Red Lodge. Take a look at this. They wound up over 3 inches of snow there today, and it's still snowing at the moment. So that's what they had, a lot of snow in that area. And as you'll see here, Doppler radar shows you that moisture is flowing upslope. That enhances snowfall development. That's why we're expecting to see a lot of snow up in the Beartooth Mountains. In fact, we still have a winter storm warning there until tomorrow morning for maybe up to 10 to 14 inches of snow in that area. But for the Billings area, the winter weather advisory has been dropped. We're not expecting hardly any more snow. Maybe a few scattered snow flurries again on the eastern plains. But here's what's happening. We have this low pressure cell make its way into Wyoming. Instead of moving into Montana, it's taking most of the snow away from Montana as that storm moves into the high plains. And so because of that, we're actually getting a little break and not as much snow coming our way. We'll tell you what is coming our way. You're going to like that coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob.
Well, if you made it up to Red Lodge for some skiing this winter, you may have noticed more snow than usual.
Well, that's because the mountain saw a 40% rise in total snowfall compared to the 5-year average. Q2's Mitch Laggy standing by now with a Red Lodge ski season recap. Mitch.
That's right, guys. The powder gods smiled upon Red Lodge this year, bringing the mountain's total snowfall to about 150 inches in the 2018-2019 season. While there was a lot of snow this year, Red Lodge officials say 2019 total visitor numbers are flat compared to last year. Mountain staff think that if it hadn't been for our particularly frigid February, visitor numbers could have exceeded last year. In the off-season, the mountain staff will tackle 2 projects to improve the resort. One being a plan to thin about 20 acres of forest on the skiable terrain. Staff say that will help mitigate fire risk during the summer months. And the second project, adding a biomass heater fueled by natural materials to replace the electric heat system currently at the base lodge.
Yeah, I've heard from some of the locals that it was some of the best conditions they could remember. We had a good snowfall year, and it started off good and with some good storms in November, and then we had a little dry spell there in January, but then we had a huge storm where over 4 days we got about 48 inches of snow.
And with this ski season all wrapped up, the folks in Red Lodge will have the golf course opened by May 17th. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Mitch. Well, new information tonight as investigators say there is no indication of criminal charges after two boats capsized on Holter Lake, killing one man and injuring 5 others. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks has recovered both boats that went down on Sunday in rough waters. Tonight, we're learning the boats were run by an outfitter out of Ennis. A Missouri man not wearing a life jacket died at the scene. Authorities say as one boat began to take on water, another turned back to assist. When they tried to bring the passengers from the sinking boat on board, the second boat also capsized.
Pertussis, also known as whooping cough, is wreaking havoc in western Montana. The number of confirmed cases in the Missoula area doubled in the last 4 days. That number now standing at 14. Confirmed pertussis cases have been reported in 8 separate Missoula Valley area schools. In Florence, south of Missoula, the superintendent says the district has sent home 20 students so far. The number of people considered to be close contact cases, so potentially exposed people, has also risen from 300 to nearly 500 now. There was one case of whooping cough in Yellowstone County in early April, but no one else affected.
Well, state health officials now strongly urging parents to make sure their child's vaccines are up to date. The Department of Public Health and Human Services says Montana is actually behind the rest of the country in this area. The state's immunization program manager tells MTN News that most kids are getting their measles, mumps, and rubella shots. But in the wake of Missoula's recent outbreak, this is an opportunity to double check your child's status.
Vaccinations are recommended at a certain time for a certain reason, especially because when we look at infants, for example, that's a time when they're the most vulnerable and they're the most likely to catch more severe disease.
Now, 1% of the population cannot be vaccinated due to medical conditions or other reasons, but experts tell us the best way to protect those individuals is to be up to date on yours.
Well, more and more Americans struggle with paying for prescription drugs, and many times there's someone in between the drug company and the consumer who negotiates the price. Montana U.S. Senator Steve Daines says he wants to expose that process. He's introduced a bill to create more transparency around what that middleman is doing. That includes looking into the effects of company consolidation on drug pricing. As many companies merge, it creates less competition and allows for an increase in drug prices. In fact, 3 companies control a 73% share of the pharmacy benefit manager industry right now. One of the most well-known spikes is the 500% increase in EpiPen cost from 2007 to 2016. That life-saving device jumped from $100 to more than $600.
Special counsel Robert Mueller is not happy with how Attorney General Bill Barr summarized his report on the Russia investigation.
That complaint in a letter from Mueller to Barr. If you recall, at the end of Mueller's probe, Barr sent a 4-page summary of that report to Congress. Mueller says that summary did not encapsulate the full 448-page report.
Barr's critics have accused the Attorney General of handling the report in a way that would be favorable to President Trump. Barr is scheduled to testify on the Mueller report in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee tomorrow.
Well, local Billings realtors bet on the community tonight and won.
The Billings Association of Realtors held its 13th annual Casino Night benefit tonight. Now, this year, Casino Nights benefits Billings Family Service, a local nonprofit that provides assistance to families in need.
Now, organizers don't yet have the total amount raised tonight, but based on years past, they hope to hit at least $20,000. All the money raised at Casino Night goes directly to Family Service and will help with the upcoming move.
This is a tremendous shot in the arm for us, but even more so for the people that we serve. It's going to be a bigger facility with more options, and it gives a lot of dignity and respect to the need that we serve.
Well, over the past 13 casino nights, the Billings Association of Realtors has raised $604,000 for local charities.
That's awesome. Coming up on your Q2 10 o'clock news, tragedy strikes at North Carolina University tonight. We'll take you there for the very latest.
Plus, these students are putting some soul into their artwork. Find out what they're up to just ahead.
And in sports tonight, Scott delivers the rest of his story on Millstone Cowboy J.R. Vizane. How is he back on a horse 7 months after his spinal injury?
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.